Hello, from Simply Media and Diva Brown, the publisher. This is about one of our lifestyle books, How to Be a Good Grandparent, How to Help Your Children and Your Grandchildren. And what's interesting that I've experienced, both on all sides of that question, is that the best grandparents are circumspect and support their children. It's very hard to be in the middle, which the parents are. The grandparent is on one side and the children on another. And the parents are, in a way, the ham in the sandwich, and they get it from both sides. And many grandparents kind of joke with the kids. You see signs such as, "I'm spending my grandchildren's inheritance." I mean, it's a terrible sign. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's very hard to be a humorist. It's much easier to be a writer of serious fiction. In America, Mark Twain and James Thurber are really the only strong comics that have lasted. We have many good writers. It's very hard to be funny. And Lyndon Johnson famously said, the president, "Cut the jokes." And I really think that's right. He said it in somewhat of a vulgar way, but it made the point. Jokes are hard. And one of the things about grandparents is don't joke about the money you're spending your grandchildren's money. And don't spoil your grandchildren so the parents take back the child a mess and like you, but not the parents. That's a terrible thing to do. So I started to realize that the best thing I could do was not be negative. Let's start with that. Don't make trouble. And some examples of it. Be the grandparent that visits the family. It's hard to be a parent with kids. You're in the middle of your life. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Your marriage is under pressure because you've got these children and the money and the expense that you didn't have before. You've got to work and figure out what you're doing. You've got to get through the life and things change. So, what can you do? Well, one of the things I noticed that good grandparents did is they often took the grandchildren and took them for a vacation, or they would have a place that the family could visit so their own children, the grandchildren, could relax. Nantucket was a classic place. People would go to Nantucket to the grandparents. They would have fun. They would be taken care of. The vacation was paid for by the grandparents. The other thing was to visit them. I visit my children, and I don't make them come to me. They've got enough to do. They got to go to work and so forth. And most of the time, grandparents aren't working, so we've got the time. But many grandparents force the kids to come to them with their children. That's a tough thing to do. And force them to come in the holidays. That's even tougher. Because there's no harder time than Thanksgiving or Christmas to get flights, to get someplace, or to drive and all the rest of it. Try to find ways to accommodate them, and then you'll be happier. And I noticed there are many grandparents of friends of mine who were not very good, and the ones that were good were jewels. Everybody liked them. And the kids like, in the long run, the grandparents that support their parents. They really do. Occasionally, they like the treat and maybe the joke, but it doesn't sit well for long. So that's our thought, and you can go to our lifestyle titles at simplymedia.com through our various customers to get these titles. But do think about this. It's a kindness and a generosity that you step back a little bit as a grandparent and let them do what they do. People as grandparents often forget that with better health, a longer life, you're retired. You don't have a lot to do. So that means it's a wonderful time for you to assist by helping your children have time. Give them a little extra money. Buy the meal. Do those little things. Send an extra $20 to the kids. I do that. And not 100, and not, don't have to buy them a fortune. But give them a little something and be nice. So that's our thought, and I hope this helps you. I've learned from it. And by the way, I learned all this from other people. This is not my original thought. Thank you again, and our number 9, and we'll be with you tomorrow with another one. Thanks very much.